Okay, so let's talk about your freelance career. We often think of it as just, finding one gig after another. But what if we looked at it like a ladder? A ladder you can actually strategically climb to make way more money, find way better clients, and build something that really lasts. To get started, I want to ask you a question that might just change the way you look at your work.
I know, that sounds like a crazy number, right? But for a whole lot of freelancers, it's the stone-cold reality. Between platform fees, all the little hidden costs, and that constant pressure to lower your prices, it all adds up. We're talking about a potential $10,000 hole in your pocket every single year, and it all comes down to where you decide to sell your skills.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to break this whole ladder down, rung by rung. We'll start where almost everybody does, right in the middle of that gig economy grind. And then we're going to map out a clear path to get you to the very top.
Right, the ground floor. This is where the journey begins for millions of us. It is absolutely buzzing with opportunity, for sure. But man, it is also packed with challenges that can keep you running in place, just grinding it out without ever really getting ahead.
And on this ground floor, you've basically got two different ways things work. On one side, you have Fiverr. You package up your service, put it on a virtual shelf, and you wait for people to buy it. Then on the other side, you've got Upwork. That's where you're the hunter. You're actively going out and bidding on jobs that clients have posted. It's this whole push versus pull thing, and it totally changes the game on each platform.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem so many freelancers run into. This quote from a Reddit user just nails that feeling of frustration. When the fees are high and the competition is fierce, it can honestly feel like you're paying for the privilege of working instead of getting paid for the work you do.
So let's peel back the curtain a little bit and look at the actual numbers, because it's in the fine print where that $10,000 question really starts to get answered.
Okay, this table tells a huge story. Look at Fiverr, a flat 20% cut. That is the highest of the bunch, right off the top. Upwork, it's a sliding scale, usually shakes out to about 10%, but you have to buy connects just to apply for a job. And then you see the real game changers, Jobbers.io and Toptal. They charge freelancers 0%. Zero! So what's the catch? Well, with Jobbers, you have to buy credits to bid. And Toptal requires something completely different.
And here's what that actually looks like in your bank account. Let's say you gross 50 grand in a year. On Fiverr, after that 20% fee, you're taking home just under 40,000. Upwork is a bit better, you're closer to 45. But with a zero commission model, you keep basically all of it, just minus the small costs of bidding. Getting your head around that difference, that is your first big step up the ladder.
So the crucial point here is this. Just by changing the type of platform you're on, you can immediately, instantly, put thousands of dollars back in your pocket. This isn't about working more hours. It's about working smarter with the hours you've got.
All right, now let's climb. Let's head all the way up to the top of that ladder. We're talking about the executive suite now. This is the goal for freelancers who want to work with the best clients on the most important projects.
And that is the price of admission, 3%. Toptal, which is probably the most famous of these elite platforms, says they only accept the top 3% of people who apply. That one little number tells you everything you need to know about how exclusive this level is.
So here's how they do it. This isn't an open flea market. It's a curated, hand-picked network. They do all the heavy lifting to find incredible clients, and in exchange, you have to pass the ridiculously tough screening process. But here's the reward. You keep 100% of your rate. How? Because the platform charges the client a big markup on top of what they pay you.
Okay, so if that's the dream, how in the world do you actually get in? This isn't about just making a profile and clicking sign up. This is about passing a job interview that's as tough as anything you'd find at a top tech company.
From what we know from people who've actually made it through, the Toptal process is a 4-stage gauntlet. It kicks off with a communication and personality screen, then it jumps to a timed coding test, then a live technical interview with an expert, and it all ends with a 2-week, full-on test project that's meant to feel just like a real client engagement.
Now pay attention to this first step, because this is where the huge majority of people get cut. According to one source, a staggering 75% of applicants are rejected right here. It's not about having a perfect accent, it's about being able to communicate your value, your expertise, clearly and with confidence. If you sound nervous or you can't just casually talk about your past work, you won't even get a chance to show off your technical skills.
So what does it actually take to pass the technical parts? Well, listen to this advice from an engineer who made it through. 2 hours a day for 2 straight months, just solving algorithms. That tells you everything. This isn't something you can cram for overnight. It takes serious, dedicated, consistent practice. It's a total marathon.
And what does that practice look like? It means you're basically going to be living on sites like LeetCode and HackerRank. The advice is to really zero in on the fundamentals, things like strings, sorting, and searching. The goal is to solve somewhere between 70 and 150 of the easy problems, until you can do them backwards in your sleep. That's how you build the muscle memory you need for those live tests. All right, we have seen the ground floor and we have seen the penthouse suite. So now the big question is, how do you build a bridge between the two? Well, it all comes down to having a master plan.
You know, the biggest takeaway from all of this should be that you don't just pick one platform and call it a day. The really smart freelancers, the ones at the top, they manage a whole portfolio of platforms. They use different sites for different reasons, all designed to make the most money and find the best opportunities for where they are right now in their career.
And here's a look at what that actually means. If you're a beginner, maybe you use Fiverr to get some quick projects and build up a portfolio, while you use a zero-commission site like jobbers.io to actually keep the money you're earning. Then, once you're more experienced, you take that great portfolio over to Upwork to land bigger clients, all while you're on the side slowly working on getting into an elite network like Toptal. See? It's about playing both the short game and the long game at the exact same time.
So that brings us to the final big question, and this one's for you. Think about this ladder we've just gone through, from the high fee grind all the way to the zero commission elite level. Where are you standing on that ladder right now? And maybe more importantly, now that you can see the path ahead, what's your next step up?